All right, good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? Good, good. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to the second annual Penn State 3 Minute Thesis competition, hosted by the J. Jeffrey and Anne Marie Fox Graduate School. I'm LaVon Esters, Vice Provost for Graduate Education and Dean of the Fox Graduate School. As a proud Penn State graduate, having earned my PhD in Agriculture and Extension Education in 2003, I'm honored to now serve as a champion for our outstanding graduate students and programs. In the spirit of today's event, the planning committee has asked me to keep my remarks to 3 minutes. I want to model good behavior, right? Luckily, unlike our presenters, I won't be timed. First, I'd like to thank our event partners for their support, the Graduate and Professional Student Association, and the Fox Graduate School Alumni Society. I also want to extend a special thank you to our judges for lending their time and expertise. Dr. Christina Grossinger, Publius Julius Morrow, Professor of Entomology, and recently appointed Director of the Huck Institutes for the Life Sciences, Mamadou Hussan, doctoral candidate in chemical engineering and member of the Graduate and Professional Student Association, Jeff Middleton, Senior Director of Finance and North American Agriculture Brands Controller, Case New Holland Industrial Incorporated, and member of the Fox Graduate School Alumni Society, and Dr. Tanya L. Peoples, Harold and Inga Marcus Dean, College of Engineering and Professor of Chemical Engineering. The Fox Graduate School is committed to supporting the holistic success of Penn State's graduate students. Events like this are an essential part of professional development, helping students refine their communication skills, strengthen their presentations, and effectively convey the impact of their research to diverse audiences. After attending last year's competition, which was our first, I can confidently say this is an invaluable experience, which is what I shared with students a little bit ago. I was always blown away by the students' ability to distill complex technical information and into compelling, accessible presentations, and even more so by the profound impact of their research. It's really, truly inspiring to learn from them. Graduate students play a vital role in Penn State's research enterprise. Their innovation and dedication drives groundbreaking discoveries and enhances the university's reputation as a top-tier Research One institution. Through collaboration with faculty, cutting-edge projects, and mentorship of undergraduate students, graduate students contribute to an ecosystem of intellectual curiosity and academic excellence. A thriving graduate program attracts top talent, fosters new ideas, and solidifies Penn State's leadership in higher education and research. Simply put, graduate students are essential to Penn State's success. Thank you for being here today to support these students. We're in for an exciting event filled with dynamic, insightful, and fast-paced presentations. Now, I'm going to hand things over to Dr. Stephanie Danette Preston, who serves as the Associate Dean for Graduate Educational Equity Programs and Chief Diversity Officer for Graduate Education, who will be our MC for today's competition. Dr. Preston.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dean Esters, for getting us started. I'd like to extend my gratitude to our judges for the time and valuable feedback, as well as for our event partners, the Fox Graduate School Alumni Society and the Graduate and Professional Student Association. The 3 Minute Thesis has an interesting origin story. It began in drought-stricken Queensland, Australia, where residents were urged to limit their water use. Many installed 3-minute egg timers in their showers to track their time. As the story goes, during one of those time showers, Emeritus Professor Alan Lawson, then Dean of the Graduate School, had a spark of inspiration, and the 3 Minute Thesis was born. Today, this competition is held at over 900 universities across more than 85 countries. While the awards are exciting, the real value of the event lies in developing essential communication skills. Explaining complex research in a way that's accessible to the public is a skill that extends far beyond academia. If you need proof of how this is crucial, just think back to 2020 and the critical role clear communication played in public health. For our competition today, our students will be competing for 3 awards: First place award is $1,000. The second place award is $500. And our People's Choice Award, sponsored by the GPSA, is $500. As audience members, you'll get a chance to vote for the People's Choice Award via QR code, which will be available for 10 minutes after the final presentation. Our first place winner will go on to represent Penn State at the Northeast Association for Graduate Schools Region 3-Minute Thesis Competition. They will also be invited to be recognized at a special Graduate Student Awards luncheon in April. We have 10 presenters today from 5 academic colleges and 8 programs of study. I can guarantee you'll learn something new from their presentations. They are not only outstanding scholars, but also compassionate, driven, and humble individuals. They are deeply passionate about their fields and dedicated to making a difference. In short, they represent the very best of Penn State graduate students. I know that you're excited as I am to hear from them, so let's begin. Some housekeeping things. Before I welcome our first presenter, if you have not already done so, please silence your cell phones. And we ask that you remain seated during presentations. If possible, wait for the 2-minute judging period between student presentations before moving around, or leaving the room or entering the room, as to not disturb our presenters. Now, you ready for the show? Please help me in welcoming our first presenter, Patrick Sarpong, doctoral candidate in Energy and Mineral Engineering.
Picture this, a world where we rely more on mobile phones, laptops, and other electronic devices for our everyday use, and also rely on electric vehicles to achieve our net zero carbon goals. This is exactly the world we live in now. But there is an issue. All these devices require lithium for their use, and this lithium is limited in nature. According to Bloomberg reports, the demand for lithium-ion battery is expected to increase to around 2,000 gigawatt hour, which is about 954% increase over the current demand. So how then do we keep up with this growth? What if one day, upon waking up, we are told that there are no more mobile phones or laptops to use again? That would be quite troubling, right? But there is a solution. What we need to do is to recover the lithium from the lithium-ion batteries that have gone to waste. These batteries are not just waste, but they are also a valuable source of lithium. So for my research, instead of using conventional, environmentally damaging and costly methods, I focused on a process called bioleaching. Bioleaching is a process that harnesses the power of bacteria to recover metals from waste. And I focus on lithium iron phosphate batteries because it is one of the main batteries used in the electric vehicle industry. And the bacteria I used worked incredibly well. This is what I did. First of all, I used a bacteria called Acidithiobacillus thiooxidans to make a natural acid. You can call this acid bacteria acid. And please don't mind the name of my bacteria, but just see it as a helpful and a robust bacteria. After that, I contacted this bacteria acid with the lithium-ion battery waste in order to get the lithium out. I also combined this bacteria acid with regular chemical acid in order to compare the lithium recoveries. And guess what? The acid that was generated by the bacteria was able to get the lithium out of the battery waste. And that's the power of bioleaching, especially when I combined the bacteria acid with the regular chemical acid, which was able to recover high amount of lithium from the battery waste, around 92%. An economic analysis I did also showed that this combined method is able to reduce operation costs in the industry by 34%. The transport, production, and the disposal of chemical acid is very expensive. And so my research helps to reduce this cost. And for sure, the environmental impact associated with the production and the disposal of chemical acid is also minimized. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Tanveer Ahmed, doctoral student in civil engineering.
Did you know your teenage daughter, sister, or friend is more likely to die in a car crash than from cancer, heart disease, or any other cause? Let that sink in, because 1.2 million people die every year from car crashes, and shockingly, half of all traffic injuries occur at an intersection. Now, we can make intersections safer by installing a traffic signal. But these signals are also a source of bottlenecks. In fact, in 2019, congestion cost Americans $190 billion from wasted fuel and delays. So to fix this, researchers have developed adaptive traffic signals that can respond to real-time traffic. But here's the catch. They treat all vehicles the same, whether you're driving alone or you're all traveling together in a catabus, which is unfair, right? And on your way home, do you ever feel like you're playing green light, red light? Well, not wrong, because adaptive signals can't talk to each other, which means you stop at a red light, begin to move, only to stop at the next. And that increases emissions. So that's where my research comes in. I'm developing the generation of adaptive traffic signals that are more equitable, more sustainable, and more efficient. Here's how. First, our adaptive signals prioritize people over cars. So we detect the number of passengers inside a vehicle to strategically prioritize buses, carpools, and high-occupancy vehicles. This makes our transportation systems much more equitable. Next, our algorithm is coordinated, which means signals along a corridor can sequentially turn green, so that a platoon of vehicles can continue to move across the entire corridor without having to stop at each and every intersection. That lowers your fuel consumption, decreases emissions, making our systems more sustainable. And finally, our algorithm decides who gets the green light and how long that green should last. By dynamically predicting the flow of vehicles from all possible movements, we can ensure no second is wasted. This makes our systems more efficient. So we're not curing cancer or heart disease. Our adaptive signals can help first responders get to the scene faster when every second counts. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Daisuke Hayashi, doctoral student in nutritional sciences.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I'm craving something tasty. Is it time for dinner yet? I might grab some takeout after here. Are there any snacks in this meeting? Imagine having those thoughts all the time, regardless of whether you feel hungry. How would that affect your life? Those are some examples of what people have been describing in mainstream and social media as food noise. From Oprah to TikTok, food noise seems to have spread as a way to describe constant thoughts about food that feel like nonstop chatter inside a person's head. The use of the term seems to coincide with the emergence of new treatments for obesity called GLP-1 receptor agonists, drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. Some people even say they've become aware of their food noise once it got silenced by these drugs. Stories like that left me deeply intrigued and motivated me to investigate food noise as the topic of my dissertation. With a mixed methods approach, I'm exploring what food noise is using 3 strategies. 1, content analysis of social media posts. Patient testimonies, expert opinions, and even sponsored content can help us understand food noise as a shared experience. 2, participant interviews. Having deeper conversations about the lived experiences of people struggling with food noise can help us move beyond the surface level sharing of social media and better understand its impact on quality of life. 3, longitudinal studies using questionnaires. We will examine how food noise changes in response to treatment with GLP-1 receptor agonists by tracking thoughts about food over several months. So far, I've come across key findings that can help us understand how this widespread, yet elusive, construct of food noise can affect people's life. Food noise negatively impacts quality of life and well-being. Nearly 90% of online patient testimonies we analyzed depict food noise as a source of suffering, a distraction from important things in life, and something people would rather live without. Food noise is likely dynamic. Obsessive, intrusive thoughts about food seem responsive to the environment and bounce up and down in a single day. This can really impact the way people eat. My research will lay the foundation to understand food noise and to help manage it, because at the end of the day, food should be a source of nourishment and pleasure, like a beautiful symphony, not a source of suffering and a distraction from important things in life. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Adam Smerigan, doctoral candidate in chemical engineering.
You rely on your smartphone every day. Do you ever consider where we get the materials to build such an important device? Many modern technologies rely on 17 metals called rare earth elements. Not only are these rare earth elements essential in your phone, but they're also critical in clean energy technologies like wind turbines and electric vehicle motors. So the question is, how do we produce these rare earth elements while still preserving our environment? One potential treasure hoard of rare earth elements is in a toxic and radioactive waste called phosphogypsum. Rather than clean this waste, we store it in these large above-ground lakes where it can leak into the environment and harm humans and wildlife. Every year, we produce more than 3,000 football fields of phosphogypsum, which contain over $300 million in rare earth elements. Every year. This is where my work comes in. I plan to clean this toxic and radioactive waste by recovering the valuable rare earth elements. To recover these metals, I'm developing a new separation using peptides, the building blocks of the proteins you eat. And to develop this separation, my work ranges all the way from the atomic scale to the system scale. At the atomic scale, I use high-powered X-rays to observe how peptides bind or grab onto different rare earth ions. Imagine you are the peptide, and you're trying as hard as you can to hold onto an exercise ball, the rare earth ion. Do you grab it at the top and bottom with both arms? Or do you go for a four-limbed approach, like a spider, and wrap your legs around it as well? How would your approach change as the ball changes size? By understanding how peptides bind different rare earth ions, we can design more selective peptides for grabbing individual rare earth ions. After designing the peptide, we zoom out to the system scale. How do we ensure that a system using this new peptide separation is, one, profitable, and two, environmentally safer than current systems? To answer this question, I developed a tool that connects fundamental chemistry, like how tightly a peptide grabs a rare earth ion, to equipment size and chemical consumption. The amount of equipment and chemicals consumed are used to quantify costs, revenues, global warming, and toxicity impacts from the system. From this analysis, I've determined that cleaning phosphogypsum by recovering these rare earth elements can be both profitable and environmentally safer. So the next time you pick up your phone, consider the challenges that go into securing a sustainable source of these rare earth elements. I believe we can meet this challenge. Who knows? Perhaps the treasure we seek is already in our trash. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Brad Foster, second-year doctoral student in the fourth year of his MD-PhD program in molecular, cellular, and integrative biosciences.
If you ran a half marathon tomorrow, would you be sore the next day? I know I would. But if you ran another one the next week, and so on, eventually your muscles would catch up. Your tendons, on the other hand, are a different story. While muscles are able to heal in response to frequent loading, overuse of tendons actually causes them to degenerate. You may have heard of tennis elbow or know of someone who's torn their Achilles tendon. Both are examples of painful tendon degeneration that affects hundreds of thousands of Americans every year. The question my thesis asks is, why? Why do overused tendons go haywire, actually speeding up their own failure instead of healing? One major factor we think is at play in this process is something called mechanobiology. In your body, your cells have a lot of different ways that are able to communicate with other parts of your body. Hormones and neurotransmitters are two examples of signaling molecules you may have heard of. Well, what if I told you that many cells in your body are also capable of responding to physical forces, like pushing or pulling? You can think of this like doors to an office building. Some doors are automatic and open in response to a button or a sensor. This is like how some cells respond to hormones. Other doors, however, you have to pull open yourself, which is like what happens in mechanobiology. So now back to tendons. In order to understand why tendons degenerate, we have to answer two main questions. The first is, what physical forces are important for inducing tendon degeneration through mechanobiology? In our door analogy, this is like figuring out if the door we want to open pushes or pulls. In my thesis, I'll be investigating various different physical forces that could be acting on cells. We believe that the most likely culprit of inducing degeneration is abnormal pulling forces on cells that occur as a result of degeneration of the protective collagen web around tendon cells. The second question is, now that we've induced our physical forces, how are they actually causing changes in the cells? How are they actually causing changes in the cells? This occurs through a process called mechanotransduction, which we hypothesize occurs when the external forces outside of the cell are translated through the collagen network into the nucleus. This results in abnormal protein expression and degeneration of the surrounding tendon. By using a very fancy microscope, we can actually co-localize the areas of tendon damage with the areas of tendon degeneration and identify the precise physical stimuli that are inducing degeneration. If I have identified how these two components of mechanobiology are operating in overused tendons, I will have greatly expanded our understanding of tendon degeneration. Maybe this will get you back to running your half marathons.
Our next presenter is Tasneem Tariq, doctoral student in architecture.
Do you know which natural hazard causes the maximum amount of death in the United States? Is it a cyclone, hurricane, flood? No, it is heat. Since 2004, the heat-related mortality has increased 400% in America. And NASA has confirmed we had the hottest summer ever in the world in last summer, and the trend is upward. Another crisis is by 2050, 70% of the people will live in cities. And with rapid urbanization, we are losing natural elements of the city and having concretes and glasses, which are actually making urban areas much more heated than the rural surrounding. And this effect is called urban heat island effect. And 50% of the cities in the world is having this crisis now. You might say, Tasneem, what's the relationship between a city and a heat stress? City elements has a huge impact about how you will feel when you are walking outside. Like imagine you are walking in the concrete jungle in a summer scorching heat. How are you feeling? Not so comfortable, right? Now imagine the same city with trees, grasses, and water bodies. How do you feel now? Suddenly it feels much more better. Raise your hand if you prefer the cooler city. Exactly, that's my work. I am working how to make the heated cities comfortable. And my focus is creating policy guidelines for Baltimore, an Eastern American city, with 3 major strategies. First, introducing greens, like trees, grasses, green roof, gardens, etc. Second, water bodies, fountains, etc. And third, changing the materials of the surfaces. And we can do it with simulation study and see the changes, how it will impact the outdoor thermal comfort condition. But let's face the reality. The strongest simulation solution will not work in the long run if it doesn't resonate with the community preference. So that's the most innovative part of my research. I am connecting the simulation and the community feedback, and I'm working with them to understand their preferences and where are the places we should do that. And I have identified like the parking lots and the vacant lots in Baltimore are the hot spot to do these interventions. So if we do these interventions, maybe in the long run, you can have a beautiful summer walk in a cities like Baltimore. And my outcome are the policy guidelines, which is not only for Baltimore, in any cities of the world. So imagine a future where no one dies with heat stress, no child faces heat stroke, and I'm looking for that future, and that's why my research matters. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Marjan Karimi, landscape architecture master's student.
Hello, everyone. Imagine this. After a heavy rainstorm, streets flood, water seeps into buildings, and cities struggle to manage excess water. That's not just an inconvenience, it is a growing crisis. Cities are built with hard surfaces, like parking lots, roads, and rooftops, that blocks natural water absorption. My research focuses on nature-based solution, specifically green infrastructure and wetland restoration, to help cities manage stormwater better. Instead of relying solely on storm drains, green infrastructure uses bioretention systems, green roofs, and permeable surfaces in order to manage the stormwaters, absorb it, and filtering it, much like forests and wetlands do in nature. Wetlands, in turn, act as natural sponges, storing excess water and filtering it before they reach to lakes and rivers. But despite all these benefits, many cities are not adopting these solutions. So that's where this research comes in. I use advanced digital simulation tools to demonstrate visually how water moves through cities before and after applying green infrastructure. These models gives policymakers and planners more clear and evidential evidence to manage and design better stormwaters. By making these solutions tangible, my work offers a clear path forward to bridge the gap between research and action. So why does this matter? Many cities, look at the recent events. New York City saw a record-breaking rainfall in 2023. Cities need to rethink about the stormwater management systems right now, not years from now. Urban planning must shift toward working with nature, not against it. These solutions are not just environmentally sustainable, they are practical, cost-effective, and essential for cities to manage the excess waters and storms. By rethinking how water moves through cities, my work offers a clear path where science and design create safer and healthier urban spaces. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Younes Shekarian, doctoral candidate in energy and mineral engineering.
Did you know that in Pennsylvania, we have more than 5,500 miles of streams contaminated by acid mine drainage or AMD, a waste stream associated with coal and sulfide minerals, which has been of environmental concern for decades. Now, imagine turning environmental waste into valuable resources for next generation technologies like electric cars. That is exactly what my PhD research aims to achieve. Cobalt, manganese, and nickel are among critical minerals listed by United States Department of Interior, and US is heavily reliant on foreign sources. These elements play a significant role in clean energy transition. For example, in case of electric car, we need 6 times more of these elements in comparison with conventional car. So it is important to study all viable resources of these elements, and AMD is one of the potential viable resources. AMD in Appalachian Basin has been found to contain a significant concentration of these elements. Recovery of critical minerals from AMD while treating it will enhance the sustainability of the process. But there is a problem. In a conventional AMD treatment, if you want to recover these elements, we have to either use very basic chemical, then acidify the solution, and neutralize it again, or using a highly costly chemicals like oxidants. Neither option is viable. That is where my PhD research comes in. I've developed a chemical-free process using ozone to recover these elements under neutralized condition. In my study, I work on the solution chemistry parameters like potential from various agents, and ozone emerged as the best candidate. The process with ozone is very fast. In less than 1 minute, more than 99% of these elements recovered, which it provides us with highest selectivity and purity, which is ideal for high-tech applications. And also, this is a chemical, environmental friendly process. And this method can be used in an acidic solution where traditional method failed. My patented process, which is currently under commercialization by Chevron, has been tested successfully in lab scale and continuous bench scale. And currently, we are building a scale-up unit to treat 10,000 gallons per day of AMD from various AMD sites in Pennsylvania while recovering these elements. What excites me the most is this innovation is not just about solving a technical problem, it's about making a lasting impact. I'm talking about US leadership in clean energy transition. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Amin Sepehri, a doctoral candidate in architectural engineering.
When we talk about global warming and reducing carbon emissions around the world, our first thought would jump to solutions like electric vehicles. Well, that's a right choice because 23% of all emissions around the world is because of the transportation system. But we are actually missing a bigger piece of the puzzle. If you see the orange piece on the chart, almost 40% of all emissions is due to buildings. We spend 90% of our times indoor, and the solution for that is to electrify our buildings just like our vehicles. But the question is that enough? Well, the answer is no. Even if you don't see fuel in your car or in your building, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that it's burned just somewhere else currently. So this leads us to a new critical issue on the grid to optimize electricity, and we have to start it from the building site. But before jumping to such optimization in buildings, let's first understand its thermal behavior. So you can imagine that all of us wear thick jackets during the winter time. It keeps us warm, and that makes sense. But now imagine having the same jacket during the summertime. It results in overheating. And that's exactly what's happening for buildings. If we keep them so warm and with high insulation levels, it's very good during the winter time. It keeps the building warm. But now in the summer, it leads us to overheating. And they don't have the luxury of taking off their jacket. So what if we implement a smart envelope system that can change the direction of the heat based on command and allowing the envelope of the system to adapt to different weather conditions? So I did that in my research, and we ran more than 10,000 energy simulations in all different climate zones in the US, and we found out that buildings can indeed behave like batteries. With charge and discharge of the thermal capacity of our buildings, just like the electric capacity of batteries, we can reduce the costs for building owner and also give the freedom to utility operators to optimize electricity on the grid and integrate more renewable energy. So I did my study on residential scale buildings, but now imagine turning all high-rise buildings to big thermal batteries. What a tremendous environmental impact then we could achieve. Thank you for your attention.
Our 10th presenter is Dr. Tricia Hart, a December graduate in nutritional sciences.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. A primary determinant for heart disease is high bad cholesterol, or LDL cholesterol. In this top left picture, bad cholesterol is shown by these yellow dots in the artery. When they become too abundant, the artery can become clogged and lead to heart disease. A primary determinant of the number of bad cholesterol particles in the artery is diet. Following a healthy diet, which includes fruits, vegetables, and plant proteins like nuts, and limiting unhealthy fats and added sugars, would be expected to reduce bad cholesterol and therefore reduce the risk for heart disease. Unfortunately, the majority of US adults are not following a healthy dietary pattern. One approach to mitigate this and reduce bad cholesterol may be to target snacking. It's estimated that about 20% of calories daily come from snacks, and US adults report that their common snacks include sweets, desserts, and potato chips. Replacing this with a nutrient-rich food might be an alternative. Pecans are of particular interest because they have compounds within them that could further reduce the risk for heart disease past that of other nuts, and very little research has looked at them. So we designed a randomized controlled trial, shown on the top right, in which we brought adults with overweight or obesity in and screened them for at least one risk factor for heart disease. That made this trial widely generalizable to the US adult population. If they qualified, they were randomized or put into one of two groups. If they were in the pecan group, they received about 2 small handfuls of pecans per day and were told to replace their usual snacks with these pecans. If they were in the usual diet group, they were told to continue consuming their usual diet for the duration of the study. We also provided $30 grocery store gift cards and told them to purchase their usual snacks with this, which was equal to the value of the pecans. The study lasted 12 weeks. We brought participants in at the beginning of the study and the end of the study to take blood draws so we could look at bad cholesterol and to look at dietary recalls so we could see what people were eating at the beginning versus the end of the study. After 12 weeks, it was shown that the pecan group had reductions in bad cholesterol and improvements in diet quality compared to the usual diet group. This reduction in bad cholesterol correlated with about a 4% risk reduction in heart disease. In other words, this would be expected to reduce heart disease deaths in the United States by about 28,000 per year. Taken together, replacing usual snacks with pecans may be an actionable and feasible recommendation to reduce risk of heart disease in the United States in adults. Thank you.
That was very engaging and an interesting set of presentations. Thank you to all of our finalists today. We will now take 10 minutes for the People's Choice voting and for our in-person judges to determine the first and second place winners. Before you vote, we encourage you to think about which presentation you thought was most effective. You can find a link to cast your vote for the People's Choice on the back of your program, and there's a QR code on the slide as well. We also will have some trivia on the slides for you to enjoy while you wait for the results to be announced. Enjoy, and we will be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Can you all please take a seat? We wanted to go for this next step in this process, which is announcing of the winners, and so we're going to do that. And before I begin, Steve, who is our resident photographer in the back, when your name is called, you simply receive your certificate from Dr. Preston, come to this side of the stage, and we'll take a picture, and then we'll go into the next individual. So now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the announcement of this year's 3 Minute Thesis Award recipients. Before I announce these, I want to take another second to recognize these outstanding students. So please, let's give them a round of applause. And before I continue with my formal remarks, I want to share a sentiment that I shared last night we had a little break. We had coffee, not coffee, we had pizza dinner last night in the room next door, but I also shared this with some other folks, and that is we really have some outstanding students here at Penn State. I mean, you saw evidence of this today. If you attended the poster session yesterday, or the visual arts display, or the performances last night, I am extremely proud to be the dean of the Foster Graduate School for those reasons, because I get to represent an enterprise where you have such outstanding graduate students. And you all are A+, let's be clear about that. And you make me proud, as I just stated, and I know you make your friends and colleagues and peers out here proud as well, and you represent Penn State extremely well, so please know that, and so thank you. So as I announce each recipient, I'd like you to join me on stage for a photo and to receive a certificate. As I just mentioned a second ago, we'll start with the People's Choice Award, which again is sponsored by the Graduate and Professional Student Association. So this year's recipient is Patrick Sarpong. That's a great round of applause. Ooh. Represent Penn State. All right. Next, our second place award recipient is, Dr. Preston's so slick with that, isn't she? Adam Smerigan. And now for the first place award recipient for the 2025 Penn State 3 Minute Thesis. This individual, the highest scores from our invited panel of judges today, or earned the highest scores from our invited panel of judges today, and they will represent Penn State at a regional 3MT competition hosted by the Northeast Association of Graduate Schools. And the award recipient is Dr. Tricia Hart. So this concludes today's competition. So again, I want to thank you all for attending, but also I want to acknowledge several people, Dr. Preston, who helped out and did a great job today. I also want to thank the judges, so thank you, each of you, for being here and assisting. I want to thank the great Fox Graduate School staff in the back, Heidi and Lim, who do an outstanding job, and our resident photographer, Steve, as well. But also I want to thank you all, audience, for being here today, taking time out of your day to be here with us. So again, thank you for joining us today to support these talented graduate students. Please wish them well. And Steve, we're going to take a picture, correct? A group photo? So we're going to take a group photo outside, so don't go anywhere. But again, thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and be safe.